Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time of the day or night you are listening to or watching this, I wish you the best of it. I'm Grant Lamontang from multitool.org, and you are watching or listening to EDC-TV. With me tonight, we've got my good buddy Inky, who is an online knife trader. How are you tonight, Inky?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not doing too shabby. Also with us, as usual, we've got Abe Elias, field editor for Blade Magazine and owner of Diving Sparrow Knife Works. How are you tonight, Abe?
Doing good, thank you.
Oh, look at that face on Inky. Inky's got something he wants to talk about. What do you got there, Inky? Let us know what you got. Come on.
I actually didn't open it. I ordered 2 dagger knives.
Maybe-
DAGGERR.
Does that mean we get to do an unboxing video here tonight?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sure, we can do that. Got this from my buddy Abe. I'm going to do surgery with it.
That's way fancier than what I got from my buddy Abe.
He likes me better.
So, Abe, you were saying that you had a plan for these, and that's why you distributed them to all of us. What have you got in mind?
I would like to, so we always talk about cutting tools and knives and stuff. So everything's got a different purpose. So the short of this is this is what I would consider a very minimalist. It's not a utility knife as much as, it's got a scalpel blade on it. It takes a number 24 scalpel. I just got to get used to my camera being over here now instead of over there from before. 'Cause I'm now on a laptop.
I'm over here now.
It's a number 24. So what I'd like us all to do is, in preparation for the next show, small piece, not going to make it the whole show, but let's carry this minimalist cutting tool instead of a pocket knife. I know, instead of a pocket knife. It's shocking, isn't it? So I'd say let's carry this for a little bit and just give our general opinion of them because it is a scalpel blade, but it will take, I think there's 2 sizes of scalpel blades. This takes the larger size of scalpel blade. So we can also, if we want to play around with it in the future, is change out the scalpel blade. It doesn't have a locking blade for everybody. Ours is a satin finish. Inky's got a nice polished finish. He's also got a bottle opener on his. We've just got this. So I already started today. I was carrying mine while I was doing snow removal. So I opened up all the salt bags and stuff like that with it. So the other thing too is it is keychain compatible. So it kind of goes with what we're doing tonight. But like I said, it's not really a challenge. I would just like us to all take an opportunity to review this kind of a minimalist tool and carry it for 1 week and let us know when next Monday, we'll let you know what we all thought of it.
Yeah, I'm game for that.
I do say I thought you were doing something nice.
So, as Abe said, we do have a topic tonight, and even though we haven't announced it, Abe went and let the cat out of the bag, but that's fine, because that's what we do here. Our topic tonight is going to be keychain EDC items. So we're going to have a look at some of the cool stuff that you can or might or will keep on your keychains. And I know Inky was kind of excited about this one. He sent me a message the other day saying, what was it? I've got 239 keychains things for the, what was it you said there, Inky?
I don't know. I was lying.
Oh,
37.
well, 239, you'd drown if you accidentally stepped into a puddle. That's a lot of metal, dude.
I only carried 34 of them at once.
Only 34. Okay. I can't find it, and I'm not going to bother looking for it anymore right now, but it was kind of neat to see Inky excited about a topic.
Yeah. No, I thought he was. I thought he was being serious. I'm disappointed now. My heart's broken.
About what?
I don't think I'll ever recover. I'm not young enough anymore. I just can't take these disappointments, Inky. I thought you had a shitload of stuff to show us.
I do.
Okay,
Well,
let's see.
I didn't
Let's
take
go.
them all. I got about 10 things, yeah.
Well, this is going to be it, guys. This is our last show for 2025. It'll be airing, when are we going to release this one here? Let me just check the dates. This is going to be coming out the day after Christmas. So, Merry Boxing Day, everybody. So, yeah. This is going to be our last show for this year. So let's get into it. Inky,
Hey.
Since you have so many keychain things you want to show us, what have you got to talk about there?
Well, I didn't do lights because I don't want to mix that in there. I just did keychains. I got a lot of stuff here. Let's start with the what?
No lights? Again, heartbreaking. Oh, heartbroken.
I did get a new light. I got the Perim, Oli Perim.
Okay.
What's your math?
I don't know what that is.
It's the one that looks like you could use it as a headband or a light.
Okay.
And it comes out. The light is on the side.
Well, that's cool. I like those. I like that. I don't own any of those, but I thought I might want to invest in one because I kind of like the dual purpose thing.
I got the old Cinder here, right?
What is that there?
It's a little blade.
Okay. And who makes that?
Kershaw.
I
Bottle
figured it
opener.
was. with the bottle opener on the back. Yeah, just like the
Never
what is it,
lost.
the Edge series that they do that's like that.
Yeah. Or there's a work series too with the bottle opener in the back. I think there's one they got called the work or something.
They
It's
got the
nice.
shuffle.
I like
I
that.
don't know the series, but the shuffle is another one. And it's got a good hanky hole. And
Yes.
it's a little frame lock, actually, this knife. The blade is, I'm going to measure the blade, very small. So that's probably an inch. Yeah, the cutting edge is about an inch and an eighth.
So are these items that you actually carry, or are they just keychain items that you
these are
like?
stuff that I have carried and did carry and carry a couple of them now, and some I did not carry. Like this, I have carried one of these. I think I had a copper one somewhere. I switch a lot. My favorite's actually the A.G. Russell tweezers, like I told you, but that, of course, is in the truck. I have this one that no one's ever seen before. I'm going to carry this thing for a week and see if I like it. And Abe was talking about the bottle opener on the end. I just got this.
Okay, what is that?
Columbia River, and it's a slippy joint.
Okay.
You do the old, you got to do the flippy flop and the floppy flip.
Well, you got to. I
And
mean,
there's a blade. It has a hiney hole
yeah,
and a
got to have
pocket.
that.
And a pocket clip. It's kind of small.
And that's a deep carry pocket cup too.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not real deep. Yeah, it's close. Except what's this thing called again? I forgot.
It kind of reminds me of, you remember a few years ago, and Abe might know these ones, might have seen them at SHOT, but Gerber came out with a series of, and I think they were like zipper pull knives or tools. Abe's, of course, got 6 of them handy. Yeah, that exact series. Well, they had a knife blade in that series as well, and that's kind of what that CRKT reminds me of.
I've got one on the table. I just can't find it right now.
I think they call this a dually.
I should have
duality,
known. The dually?
Do you remember that knife pull one? The knife one kind of looked like the knife I just had out, the mini SOCOM. It had the SOCOM like handle from like the Boker SOCOM handle, and the
Right.
blade. It was very, very reminiscent of that.
It was reminiscent of the first one, right? The Sender, right?
Jeff
That thing's called a
Lospanos.
dually,
Is that
I
what his
think?
name was? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking that up right now. It's actually a really neat looking knife. Good price on it, too.
Yeah, I got it even cheap. I had a little credit, like a little, when you buy stuff, they give you that, whatever.
Yep.
Over there now and over here now. What else we got? Of course, very important. We have the St. Christopher vintage pearl knife. You got to have a St. Christopher knife.
Of course, patron saint of the travelers.
The patron saint of, it's actually me, but I don't tell anybody. It's my own secret. This is old. I don't know from what year, but it's in good shape. And 2 blades. I kind of carried it a little and didn't want to ruin it.
Okay.
It's like an Imperial or something. It was never
Yeah.
used or anything. It's pretty old.
And you hung that
Just
on a
tell me when to
keychain, did you?
stop.
You carried that on a keychain, did you?
Yeah, just once or twice. Then I didn't want to carry it. That little mini camper, old
That's-
Japanese made.
That's
That's
really
pretty
freaking cool.
Yeah.
The vintage one is cool. They make the real big one with the spoon and the big
Yeah.
leather. Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is kind of cool.
As you were turning it around there, I was hoping to see a spoon on one side or the other.
Nah, it would be cool,
Actually,
right?
I don't have one of those on the table, but I have it in a tote right next to me. One of the spoon
This?
fork ones.
Yeah.
No, one of the spoon fork ones. Yeah. We used to have
That's
those in
pretty cool.
Canadian Scouting, which is like, you had to basically become a baton twirler to eat dinner.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I never
Well,
had
you
one of
got-
those, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I keep seeing them and I keep thinking, you know what? I should get one of those. And I'm like, no, it looks like cheap junk. So I just never bothered.
Yeah, they got a bunch of different kinds. They got, even Imperial makes them. I used to collect it and then I gave them up. I'm sure you guys have these, right?
That is
Yeah.
the all-time best keychain tool ever made, in my opinion.
is?
That is the Leatherman Micra. And I tell you, you just don't get better tools than that. I'm
And
sorry,
up-
I don't care who you are, but the Micra is the best. There you go. That's how you improve it. You get an on-scene tactical sheath to hold it.
Yeah, God rest Eric. And he was very clever on how he made that. It's because the problem I always had is like for instance, so on my keychain, I carry the Swiss Army Mini Champ, right?
Right?
And I like it. I really like it because if there's only one thing that this lacks is in what I usually use in a little keychain knife is
Pliers.
the scissors on these are just so much superior. They're very
Yes.
fine. You can do a lot of fine cutting and stuff. But either way, to compensate for the fact that you have to hook up to it like this, I always get, and I got these off of Grant, is the little claw clamps. I'm pretty sure these were the ones I bought off you. The little, I forget, camera's in a different spot now that I got a computer instead of a phone. So I get the little claw clamps.
Yep.
right? And that's how I managed to use this. But you still have to sometimes manipulate the situation so you can get it off the keychain. Eric was very clever. So you hook this to the keychain, and this thing just rocks right out.
Yeah, and they hold securely.
Yes.
I thought that was the greatest thing. When it's locked in, it's not falling out ever.
God rest his soul, he got out of the business because it got flooded. I think it may be, or he got just tired. You know, you got to know Eric. Eric had that artist about him. He would be passionate about something because he started, a lot of people don't know this. He started out doing, what's it called? Not electrolysis, where you use an electrical current to connect metal to things. What's that called again? I'm having an old guy's thing.
Yeah, not soldering. What do they call that?
That's how DMT does attaches their diamond grit to their stones.
Okay.
The diamonds in the nickel, that's how you tell a quality diamond stone from a cheap one, is if it's epoxy and then they spread the diamond dust on, or if they have it suspended in liquid metal and then have it electromagnetically connected or whatever it's called. I know it, guys. I honestly know it. I'm just having a really freaking 57-year-old man shit time here.
It's in my brain too.
Yeah. But either way, he used to do that. And he had country stars. Did you know that about him? He had country stars by his art.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's got a picture of a couple of good old boys from down south, not just Canadian country stars, but he took orders. I think one, because he would do an arrangement of like things, and then he would coat them in copper or things like that. Anyways, I don't want to get too far off topic here, but Eric was a really talented guy. I miss him. I saw him probably, he passed like last year or something like that. And so,
yeah, it's probably been at least a year.
Yeah, at least a year. And I saw him just before I moved out of my old hometown. Him and I actually ran into each other for a little bit and talked, and he was really busy. He moved on from the Kydex making to, he was the foreman for a greenhouse building crew.
Wow.
But yeah, beautiful idea. I mean, I'll tell you, in my honest opinion, if you find just one of these out in the thing, these you can find, you can get them. But this is the gold mine. That's the hen's tooth. You can find them out there in the wild. Don't hesitate to pick it up. Listen to that clicking.
He had sent me a bunch of those for, I think it was micras and squirts, and just fantastic.
Did you hear that click? Yeah, did you hear that click?
I have a larger version of that for Leatherman Crunch. I had gotten a Leatherman Crunch I'd gotten it secondhand off of somebody and it didn't have a sheath. He sent me a few things. There were some battery holders and some squirt and micro holders as well. Oh, I mean, it was Christmas pretty well.
Yeah, he made me, I forget which model, but he made me one for a Gerber that I really liked carrying at the time. And he made me one for, I think, one of the older Leatherman waves, the ones that didn't have the interchangeable. And he's made, I've got a ton of his stuff for my knives. Actually, at one point in time, he was making stuff for me, and he said to me, he says, well, instead of paying me, why don't you trade me? I said, what do you want? He says, you've got an old Camillus Becker 2 companion. And I traded him that companion. And actually, you know what? Afterwards, as much as I love Eric, I regretted it because I realized that it was right afterwards, Camillus closed down. I couldn't get another one. And I had every other Becker knife they made except for the Becker 2 companion and haven't been able to find one since.
Right.
So great work.
So what cool keychain things have you got handy there, Abe?
So I like I told you, I have the Champ. I have a shard, and I gave away my original shard, and as we've said before on the show, these weren't even to be sold. They were just a trinket item. They were given to media at the SHOT Show one year, and then when the media guys took them home and started bragging about them, and this, here you go.
Look at that one that Inky's got.
The multitool.org one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those.
Well, if I have any left, I'll send one to you.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you, this here, I've only ever gotten onto a plane once. It was in Canada when it was not my U.S. travels. And they gave me a hard time about this because it doesn't have a blade on it. And the lady looked at me and she said, well, what is this for? Why do you need one of these? And I said to her, not all microbreweries have twist-off caps. Because she was Canadian, she looked at me and she let me walk. I recently got this. I used to have a photon light, and there was nothing really wrong with photon light. I thought I'd get something a little stronger, so this is an O-light. Again, O-light, you need to sponsor us or do something nice for us. I didn't have, the price wasn't really nice on the Swiss Army knife clippers that I could afford them. So at the time, but then I got these. So they're kind of cool. So what they do is they fold really thin. It's a German-made nail clipper. So the handle folds into the handle, like the lever handle folds into the handle. So it's thin, super thin. Then you press back and that unlocks the handle so it pops up. And then you press it forward. Now, this is funny. I read the review on this after I got it. Okay, so now it presses forward, and now you have a really active clipper. It's a pretty good clipper. It's got big, if you can see, it's got a big set of jaws on it. So there was, I
Could have some real thick toenails for that.
Yeah, you could. So I was reading the article, and a lot of guys didn't know they had to push the handle back forward again to lock it into place to be able to use the clipper. So guys were bitching, giving it a 1-star review, going, "Look at this! You can't get a nail, cut a nail with it." And they were holding it closed. Look, it's closed, but it won't close. The handle's down, but it won't close. Now this I mentioned before. This came with it. It's a little spoon to scrape out your earwax. I do not recommend using it, but I keep it just in case I ever need something small. I don't, just in case. That's basically about it. That's all the tools on here. I showed you my light, but here's one thing I found out years ago that I really like is I go into the shop. And I want the guys working on my car, and I don't want to leave them with the house keys just in case the guy's an escaped convict from, like, Bora Bora. So you just press the piston on this thing, pull back the sleeve, it separates, and there's your car key all separate. Then you can see it.
I like the extra protection on that one.
Yeah.
Mine is just a squeeze and pull.
Yeah, I've got a nice one I just bought. It was a titanium one. It was one of those things that you get advertised on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, no, gotta have that. But it's funny that you mentioned that you had an issue with airline security. I went to Greece a couple of years ago, and I had this with me, and I got pulled over. This is a KeySmart Pro, which just holds key. So, Inky, you had a few more things you wanted to talk about. What do you got there, buddy?
I got the P4. Everybody knows what that is.
The Squirt P4 from Leatherman. Yep, excellent choice.
The Radio Shack one. It went for so much money, I had to sell it. I sold mine when I got the shortcut, which I like. I guess because it's a little bit chunkier. I don't like the scissor part, though. I like the size of the tool. It's a little bit more usable for me. I like the little fat blades, little weird back Batman tip blade. You know what I mean?
Which one is that there, Inky? Let me see the handles.
Shortcut. Gerber shortcut.
The Gerber shortcut, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I almost bought one of
The
those.
little Batman blade thing there,
Yeah.
The blade kicks in, but it has a little... I left my fingernails on the other hand.
I gave my father either the shortcut or the plier version, which is the clutch. I gave my father one of those, and he keeps it in the center console of his truck.
I like the clutch. That was my favorite. And the dime, too. I like them all. Actually, all three of them.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that series continue a little bit more.
I just got this Demko. Abe's a Demko guy, right? It's a little bit big, but it is a keychain. I want to put in a little match edition. The last ones I got, I forgot what they're called. Damn. I'm gonna put
That's interesting.
I'm gonna slip it in there. It's just a little.
Kind of reminds me of the Cold Steel.
Yeah, it's made by the same company.
Edge. Yeah.
And I got this because they didn't have any more clip points left.
Okay. That's a nice little, what is it, a Warncliffe there?
Yeah, I call it that. They call it something else.
Maybe a sheep's hoof? Sheep's hoof?
Yeah, I call it
because it's rounded, a little bit rounded. Maybe not. I don't know. I can't tell. That tends to be the subtle difference. And if you get it wrong, as a magazine writer, I'll tell you, somebody will rate the editor and go, hey, your guy's an idiot. He doesn't know anything about knives because he's got the wrong name on the blade.
So Demko's overseas stuff is made by the company that makes the cold steel stuff. That's what it seems like to me.
Okay.
Because when him and Lynn got together, for that, the triad or the AD lock, whatever they call that, the lock on the AD20s, when they got together with that, Lynn Thompson was making them through his company, Cold Steel, of course. And I think when he started making his production models overseas, he used the same company. That's what it seems like. Maybe I know that. Maybe I assume it. I don't know. What?
Be unheard of, dude. It's because a lot of people don't realize it.
I mean, I got the knives in my hand there. You could tell. I mean, I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm saying this is what it seems like to me.
People don't realize that. So there's a term for it in the knife industry. It's called shadow grinding, right? Companies shadow ground. So like Colonial Knife and Tool Company, they would do shadow grinding for Gerber even and other companies. Camillus used to make, I think they used to make definitely the machetes for Cold Steel. And I know personally I've reviewed some knives for Cold Steel that were made by Camillus in New York when they were in New York.
Yeah. A lot of companies made stuff for them. Taylor, Camillus, a lot of I think not Schrade. Did Schrade make anything for them? No.
So I've got one here, a keychain that has been largely forgotten by the masses, and frankly, I think it's a bit of a waste because this is actually a really great tool. I'll admit to having forgotten about it myself, but then one day I was on a job site and the site engineer had one on her key ring, and I thought, holy shit, what are the odds that, out of all the keychain multi-tools out there, you picked that one? And that is this little thing here, the Gerber Curve, which, in my opinion, it has been highly underrated. It's extremely small. It's got the carabiner on it, which locks nicely onto your keys, but also functions as a bottle opener. You can see the little bottle opener icon right there. What's really neat about this is, of course, it opens up Swiss Army knife style with a bunch of different tools on it. See if I can get them open there without cutting myself. But as you can see, they all lock. They use Gerber's patented safety lock system, which is the same one that's found on the Multiplier series. But you can see that is definitely not going to fold. So what you've got is just a little over an inch, but you've got multiple tools on it. I mean, virtually every inch of this is you got screwdrivers and all kinds of things in there, and they all lock open in this tiny, tiny little package. That is, I mean, I don't care. Maybe you're one of those people that's like, Gerber sucks. Well, you know what? Nobody else has come up with anything as feature dense as this that locks.
Now, if you hold that up again, Grant, hold it up a little bit. And there's some I noticed I didn't notice it before when you hold it up. So if you actually covered the bottle opener part, like maybe imagine it as being steel, what other knife does that remind you a little bit of? The shape, contrast to the blade fitting into the handle. Can you think of anything right off the top of your head?
The Kershaw Curve series, maybe?
How about a Spyderco Cricket?
Yeah, another good choice.
It's not as broad, but it's kind of got that appearance once the light hits it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that now that you mention it. Yeah, definitely.
It's very sleek looking. I like it. I like stuff that's, so to me, if I was writing something on it, I usually refer to those designs where there's not really sharp edges to it, like except for the edge on the blade itself, as an organic flow. They have, and those are rather, I like the organic stuff. I mean, some of the sharp stuff is pretty good too, but that organic flow looks really good.
Yeah. There's hardly a pointy part on here other than the blade.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so the little rivets stick out a tiny little bit here, but comparing it to something like this guy here, which is the Leatherman style, I mean, this is the skeleton type, Skeletal type design, but I mean, there's edges all over this that the Gerber Curve just doesn't have. They definitely named it properly when they called it the Curve. So kudos to whichever marketing agent named that one. I'd also like to point out, Abe, you know Hal Hardinge over at Gerber?
Sorry, could you say that again?
You know Hal Hardinge over at Gerber, the designer?
No. Actually, no, I don't. Well, not personally. I don't know him personally.
Okay, well, I've met him a number of times at the shows. He is I think he's the product manager now. I'm just pulling him up here. Anyways, he has just celebrated, I believe it was, Director of New Product Development at Gerber, and he's just celebrated 22 years at Gerber. Yeah. And I've actually got a funny story. We were at SHOT one year, and I was in a meeting with Gerber, and Hal was there. And we're talking about the new products, as you do. And he keeps glancing over my shoulder. What's wrong? Something, like, is everything okay? And he says, I think that's Jeff Foxworthy over there. And I turn around, I'm like, holy shit, it's Jeff Foxworthy. So I said, I'll be right back. And I went and got myself a photo with Jeff Foxworthy. I'll see if I can find that and post that for you guys. But, yeah, it was just funny because it was like, at the time, there's an old Jeff Foxworthy joke that my parents used to always laugh at was, if the directions to your house include turn off the paved road, you might be a redneck. And of course, that was one my parents brought up a lot because my father retired and moved out to the woods. And in fact, those were the directions to their house. So
that's still the directions to my house.
That's cool. At Gerber, at the time that I was like, there's always phases of where the companies work things a little differently. And I remember not right when I joined, but shortly after I joined the writing crowd and stuff like that, and started going to SHOT Show, Jeff Friedman was the managing the plant, and he would sit in on almost every media. Did I get his name right? It's Jeff Friedman, right?
Can't say I know him.
He left. I was really shocked. He had left Gerber. I didn't think he had designed some knives with Harsey. Nice guy, really, really nice guy. He had been there at least 15 years, I think, when I met him. But him and I used to, do you remember the early Gerber hunting lines? Very polished blades, drop
Yes.
points.
Yeah.
I used to talk to him about how I wish I had the money when I was younger that I bought them.
Right.
Because I really liked them. They were just a straightforward knife. And there was two things about this. And there was another knife, and for the life of me, again, I can't remember it. It was a knife that was really popular for a while. It was like a tactical drop point with them. And I mentioned how I missed out on getting one of those. And so I mentioned those two. So he shows up to Blade Show one time. He goes, "Come on, Abe, I want to show you something." And he brought off the office walls the full framed in
Wow.
collection of the hunting knives just to hang at the show to show me, right?
Wow.
And then he said, "Guess what?" Because he didn't say anything when I mentioned it. He goes, "Guess what? I have a stack of in my desk drawer." And I feel so bad because I'll find the blade and show it to, and maybe somebody can remind me of the name. And he mentioned that knife. I said, "Really? You got a stack of those still sitting?" He says, "Yeah, they've been in the desk drawer for years." And he handed me one.
Oh, wow.
Jeff Friedman. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Friedman. Jeff Friedman. He used to have a whole line called Friedman Knives, but he took off on his own. Gerber, and I haven't talked to him ever since, but it looks like he's on Facebook, so I see him every once in a while.
So I see you playing with some stuff over there, Inky. What have you got there?
Yeah.
I actually just closed it all up. I had something, a little thing all open. It's a cheap thing, but I closed it because I don't know if the spring, sometimes the springs get messed up on cheap stuff.
Yep.
Or wingers.
I was going to say, or good stuff, yeah.
It's just a few blades and I don't know. I don't want to open it back up, but yeah, I had this out once for years.
Okay, so that looks like a tiny little mini champ kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just a crappy champ. Like one of those stores like, Kohl's or something.
Okay,
Very
that's
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah, paper on the back.
I found something. So sorry, I want to ask you guys this. You guys are going to know. I found something the other day that's got me just beside myself because I can't.
I could see you sitting right next to you.
So because I don't carry all my collection, I haven't ever had a chance to carry. Like there's some stuff that I bought just put off to the side. This one I carried for a little bit, and I can't figure out what the tool was in it right now. Can you see that?
Yeah.
What the hell is?
I'm going to guess that is what the hell they call it. There was the cross grip and the cross cut, depending on whether it had pliers or scissors.
I think this was the scissors one, and I can't find it. I was going through my collection tubs, and I found the case, and I haven't found the tool.
They came out with they're originally USA-made ones, and then they came out with a reissue of, I think it was the cross cut, which was the scissor one a few years ago.
With those weird handles, right?
And it was made overseas, and it just didn't have the same quality as the original. So they're not as in demand as the original ones. But if you can find the old cross grip or the cross cut, the USA made ones from the early days, I mean, they weren't really great as far as keychain tools go. They were far outclassed by things like the Micra and the Squirt series. But you know what? They were SOG, which meant that, I mean, you could run a truck over them and they wouldn't really notice, right? In the old days, this is going back, 20 years anyway, from when we started Multitool. It was interesting because you'd be talking to these military guys and you could pretty well guarantee what they did. I guess it wasn't just military guys, but you could kind of you could see what they did just by what they carried. I mean, you had the regular military guys who all carried the Gerber MP600s that they were issued. And then you had the fancier guys that carried the Leathermans. But then you had the heavy duty guys, and that was the demo guys and the artillery guys that, and they all carried SOGs because it was just a tool. It was usually the power locks, that they could just beat on and reef on, and they would just keep coming back for more. And they liked the idea of if they did manage to break them, they could just, buy a new knife blade and install it themselves rather than send it away for warranty or buy a whole new one.
See, I do have an original cross grip, and it's, for whatever reason, I managed to keep the box for it. It doesn't look like I carried it. I must have got it in and just kind of got, how sometimes you especially when you're buying a lot all at once. I'm not trying to sound like an arrogant ass or anything like that, but then you get hooked because maybe I talked to you, then I talked to Inky, and then I talked to somebody else, and the next thing I'm buying 3 different things, and they get in, and then you just kind of like, especially when you're like, when I was writing quite a bit, you also had to carry whatever you had decided to do an article on, because you had to road test it, right?
Of course.
And so a lot of times, I remember one time shocking the shit out of people. It was the Gerber equivalent to the CRKT Kiss. It's a little black knife with winewood scales on it.
Yes, I have that.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so in the car factory, our boxes are made to carry car parts. And so what would often happen is because we were such great environmentalists, the companies would send us all the cases with the bumpers in them. Like the bumpers weren't the only ones. They would send us all these pallets, and they were supposed to be reusable, environmentally friendly pallets. But because you're sending reusable pallets, Chrysler's has to pay to put them on a truck and send them back.
Mm-hmm.
And because Chrysler's was such a huge environmentalist, they would hoard the pallets and never send them back, which meant that when the factory finally ran out of them, they'd have to send them in this amazingly dense, thick, corrugated cardboard that was over a half-inch thick. And so to test that knife one day, I figured this could end ugly. I took that little Gerber and I cut open that half-inch thick corrugated box, and that little son of a bitch did it.
But it would have them tiny little micro serrations on it, or was it a plain edge?
No, mine was a plain edge. It was all black except for, like, I think like I said, where the Kiss blade would come in on one side, instead of doing it and just being flat, it had, I think, a winewood backing as a little wall to block the edge, if I remember correctly. It's been ages.
It wasn't chisel ground. Or was it?
I can't remember right now. Like, it's been ages. That knife's got to be over 15 years old. I remember using it, the job I had, because you can kind of tell where you were in your memory, where you were at in the plant.
One of these days, we're going to have to do a car episode. Well, but in the meantime, we're still doing keychains. Have you got anything else to show us there, Inky?
Yeah, I think I showed you everything for now.
What about you, Abe? You got anything else to show us?
I had the PS4. I've carried that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
That was probably the best of the Squirt series, because it, before then you had the P4 and the S4, and you had to choose whether you wanted scissors or pliers. And the PS4 came out and gave you the option of having both. I remember that was huge on the forum back in the day when that was first released. We talked about that for hours, how great it was.
It really was.
Now, when I was doing renovations, I tried carrying the ES4, right? Because of the little wire strippers. But realized that, they weren't really, it was more of a Band-Aid type wire stripper tool. And I just found my Swiss Army knife much more useful. But it was size-wise, too. Thickness, it wasn't much, if you look at it, it wasn't much thicker. But width-wise, if you match them up, you can see how it's almost like just about a third, I don't know if you can see that, a third wider.
I was going to say about 30%, yeah.
Right now, this here was a better carry. Again, we go back to the Micra. The Micra is a better. I actually had 3 Micras. One of my friends watched one of our episodes. He says, "Do you have any extra Micras?" And I ended up selling him one of my 3 Micras.
I'm not sure I have a full Micra right now, believe it or not.
Really?
I probably have one somewhere. I probably have several somewhere, but I can't put my hands on any of them right now. I did have one, and this was something that we were doing on the forum for a while there, where guys were taking Micras and taking all the tools out of the handle and replacing them with keys. And I know at the very least I've got a Micra lying around with no tools in the handle waiting to have keys put in it that never ended up happening.
The dime, I haven't carried the dime yet. I want to give that a shot. So all I got to do, what I've been waiting for, is to find some time to make up that little, I have the clam spring clamp. So I need to make one. I need to make one up for here so it can ride on the keychain. But having said that, I would give anything to have Eric around again, because I think this would be incredibly a good, much better tool to take it up another notch. If I had, I think he used to call those bikinis, like the multi-tool bikinis or something like that?
Something like that. I don't honestly recall.
Yeah, I'd love to have that.
Was the original dime slightly different than that? Yeah, right?
More or less. It was usually green and black was the original one, and then it came out with a couple of other colors.
The clutch. I think that was my favorite, the clutch.
I think I have a clutch.
I don't remember why, though. It seems like every
Ripstop,
company that's making cheap multi-tools is making a suspension look like right now still.
Yeah.
Like Midway And anything you see, gas station ones, they're all shaped like the worst ones ever made. I can never get over that. I was like, why are they using the worst model ever made?
Well, what's really interesting is a company called Multitasker, and they came out with, God, I can't remember what it was called, but it was supposed to be a firearms tool. The guy who runs Multitasker, nice guy, I think his name was Shane Kang, but he didn't know anything about designing multi-tools. And so when he came out with the Multitasker, and it was a neat concept because the plier head wasn't cast, it was milled, which he felt produced a stronger product, and I believe it did as well. But he copied the handles from what he thought was a normal multi-tool, and they were just like, I think they were Ganzo model handles.
Which is like the suspension.
Which is a copy of the suspension, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the neat things that you learn when you start to pay attention to Swiss Army knives and multi-tools is that there is an art. You don't just grab a set of handles and put a whole bunch of crap in it. Things have to fit together and they have to make sense.
Ergonomics, very important.
And that was something that Multitasker didn't quite get in the early days. So their tools were really neat because you had the milled plier heads, and I think it was a G10 handle cutout that they used that was similar to the Ganzo, which was similar to the suspension. And then it was just a whole bunch of stuff just rammed in the handle. But it was a high quality tool that was made to look like a cheap tool, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. I think Inky, when you talk about like why choose that one, sometimes a lot of times when these guys do these, if you want to call them knockoffs and stuff like that, they're grabbing a model that they feels kind of like recognizable, right? Like you get like a lot of times if you get a name close to something, then you're taking advantage of the notoriety they've gotten. Because if you look at the knife industry, a lot, like, not throwing any names out there, but there's a company, Grant and I, and you probably know too, but everybody out there's been collecting knives for a while. One year they came out with a knife that looked exactly like a Spyderco.
The Spencer Co.
Yeah, the Spencer Co. And there was another one too. Remember one of the big fights over the hole? That was Benchmade. Benchmade had a lot of notoriety of their own. They didn't need to go after, this is going to sound weird to say, they needed to go after the hole.
Right? Well, they first did it with the
Vortex or whatever. It was red. It was a red DNA. It was a red D. I've got that knife in my collection.
They did it with Vex.
Yeah, Vex. That's it.
Chinese one.
Yeah.
And they did it with the, what do you call them? I love them. ATS 34 steel. They call those things. You just saw one recently, Grant, somewhere.
The AFCK.
Yeah, the AFCK, that whole.
Yeah.
In a model like that or similar. Then it came out with the Pika and the Vex and all that crap.
I mean, the series that you're thinking of was it was sort of like the cheaper version of the AFCK with the Zytel handles, and that was the Eclipse series.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Abe, but it's like, do your homework, realize, not you, them, do your homework, realize the one you're recognizing is the biggest piece of crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here's one that always kind of got me. And I've heard two different stories, and because of the situation, I never wanted to ask them. And so you'll know as soon as I say it. I have an original Swiss Army knife fireman model, so I got the round hole. But my understanding was they were not aware of Spyderco. Somebody said they were totally not aware of Spyderco. It was an accident, and as soon as somebody made them aware of it, they changed to an oval. Now, that was one story I heard. I'm not saying that's it. Grant, you guys probably know better. But now I have both. I have the oval hole, and I have the original fireman with the round hole in it. And I've never let that round hole go because I figured somebody who's a Swiss Army knife, I don't know any Swiss Army knife collectors myself personally, that would probably want the round hole fireman.
Yeah, I remember we were at SHOT when that particular knife that you're talking about, the copy of the Spyderco, that was, if anybody wants to Google it, it's called the Sogzilla, and it's made by Sog.
I love that knife, man.
At the time, the owner of Sog was a gentleman by the name of Spencer Fraser. And so we could all see that it was a very, very, very close homage, shall we say, to the Spyderco Endura. And so it kind of got the official name of Spencer Co. And I remember being at SHOT, and I think it was Chris Cashbow, who was at the time, I don't know, product development manager. And he was like, "Don't call it the Spencer Co." He was just begging anybody who came to the booth, "Don't call it that."
He was so, that poor guy,
Nice
that
guy.
year was one of those weird years for him, because when I got to SOD that year, it was later on. So I walked up to the booth. I said, "Hey, Chris, how you doing?" And he's going through the regular PR thing, like, "We designed this year. We designed this year. Look at this. Look at this." And then he showed me the Spencer Co. And I went to, like, the look on my face immediately was like, and he was so, at that point in time, he had been battered so heavily by that. I didn't even get a sound. There wasn't even a megahertz. He looked at me. He went, I know, don't say it. I know. I was like, poor Chris. He was like, I thought he was going to cry.
I like that knife, man. I kind of hard time parting with mine. I wouldn't carry it anymore. I don't know. I loved it. I actually reprofiled the whole edge on it, made it really wide, and like if you cut something too hard, it would almost chip. But it was so sharp. I can't even explain. I used it for like light cutting. It was like, and whatever you cut, it was like fly away.
It was a great knife.
Just loved it, man. Loved it. I put out about a quarter of an inch edge on each side with a Lansky. I like almost filed it out.
What I didn't get with it is that notch in the hole. If you're going to put a notch in the hole, open it up and use a Emerson wave technique on it. But that notch was so small, you couldn't clip your pocket and use it like a wave.
Yeah, I didn't want it for a wave. I don't know, man. I'm good at loving a knife the way it is. Like I'm not the guy that always goes, well, they could have. You know, I'm like $5 knife, $3 knife. You know, I could love it. I'm a lovable knife man.
You're very accepting. You're a very accepting man. You've got an open heart.
Thank you.
You're an open. But all I'm saying is I couldn't get what that tiny little notch was for. Was it just?
Yeah, I guess it was like, if you want this to be a wave, get a Dremel tool.
I think it was, they wanted to make it look different from the Endura.
And then the Endura came out with the wave anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a hilarious
That's my favorite knife. That's probably why I liked it so much. I got a whole collection of Enduras.
It was a great knife. I've still got one somewhere.
Man,
and I love it. And, you know, it was a fraction of the cost of the Endura, too. So, you know, that was always a good thing.
Yeah. And so were the bird versions. That was the other. Remember when the birds came out?
Yeah.
And they were like $18 for a bird?
Yeah. I wish they would have made round holes in the birds.
You know, I never liked, and I love Spyderco knives. I think this podcast has established that quite seriously, but I just really never got on with any of the bird models. I don't know. It's just
the hole, man.
The hole is annoying. The little bird's eye hole that they use instead of a Spyderco round hole. And there's key differences. What is it? The spider wrench and the bird wrench. I did side-by-side comparisons on the site many times. I know they had some production problems, trying to keep to a reasonable price level on the spider wrench. But I'll tell you, I'd pay 6 times as much for a spider wrench as I would for the bird wrench. It just was terrible.
What your new bird wrench goes for? You have a new box one right now?
How much?
If I'm not mistaken, $300-400.
Wow.
Just like the spider wrench did.
The thing I found kind of interesting is, especially as kind of a little bit of a not nitpicky guy, a tendency to be a safe queen lover, where I like to protect my really nice, expensive stuff sometimes. And I was working in rough areas like the factory. You could scratch the shit out of a knife there. I took a chip out of a blade one time, opening one of those cardboard boxes because I actually hit the bumper inside. So if you've got a minivan with a chipped bumper, email. No. But basically, I remember that pretty much for the first little bit, they just copied all the Spyderco models. They even had a copy of what's the name of the model they have in Spyderco? They have a bird of it, and they have a regular Spyderco one, 2 blades that flip out, one serrated, one end, one.
The mini diad, the diad and the mini diad. I have a mini diad.
Yeah, I have the full. They're nice too.
Yeah, I've got the one with the G10 handle. It's the mini diad and the G10, and it's just a fantastic little knife. I love it a lot.
Polished one, right? Polished G10.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man.
I got the large in the Spyderco, and I think that might be a stainless steel handle. I can't remember, but I know the bird I had in G10, and it was the large.
You know the bird was the word?
The bird is the word.
Well, the birds were turds.
So, okay, I got to ask you guys, since we're talking about Spyderco, I know we're supposed to be on keychains, but how many guys have you ever seen that weren't knife guys, and you had your Spyderco on you, and you showed them the blade, and because they weren't knife guys, but sometimes they maybe were a little older guys, and they look, I hate about that knife, that thing's going to break. And you know where it's going to break? It first place it's going to break is right where that hole is. Oh yeah, I can't tell you. It happened to me this year. I was showing my Spyderco to somebody, and they all know that I'm in the shooting clubs I belong to. They all know that I'm a knife guy. One of the old guys pipes up and goes, "Well, that nice piece of shit. That first place that's going to break is right where the hole is." Okay, I'd like to see you try.
You know what I noticed about Spydercos? Everybody that really doesn't know what a Spyderco is thinks it's a cheap gas station knife. Because
Well,
that was so copied back then. I broke a Spyderco. I said, you broke this. You broke a Spyderco. I broke a Leatherman in half. I said, yeah, you broke a Leatherman in half. I
Yeah.
got like 10 of my friends told me that. I mean, it may be cheap, but you're not breaking it in half. They say that. But a Spyderco, like, people have no idea, some people, what a real Spyderco is because
Yep.
of all the fakes that were out there. Now they're the biggest clone knives, copied knives out there too, again. But now they're making them nicer.
Well, what gets me too, that I always found, this was my pet peeve, and I don't because people don't have any maybe reasoning skills, and you saw a lot of this on the early day forums, knife forums, and blade forums.
It's like going out and getting yourself a Ferrari so you can take it off road and camping in the backwoods, right? I
Oh, you're
mean,
not supposed to?
you're just using it wrong.
Yeah,
Exactly.
a guy did that with one of your favorite folding knives. I remember he got on blade form and started complaining about breaking his opinel, and opinels are great, incredible
Yeah,
thin
nice for the price.
carbon blades, right? And he was
Yeah.
batoning it through a tree branch. Yeah, he was batoning through a tree branch, and bitch said he broke it.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, these high carbon blades are relatively brittle and they are very thin, but you know what? They're not really meant to be jammed into the crevice of a rock and used as as a stepping stool.
Normal use wouldn't break those. They never break under normal use.
They shouldn't,
Those things.
but
Wouldn't the
what do you
handle
consider to be
fail
normal
before the
use? And
blade on those?
some people think that cutting cinder blocks is considered normal use for a knife, and it is definitely not.
So, a testament to that opinel, I think I might have told you guys this story. I used to watch a lot of woodworking shows. I used to like traditional woodworking, so I'd watch the Millwright shop with Roy Underhill, and he would go around and interview other woodworkers in traditional shops. So there's one gentleman, I think he was in Georgia because of the skill that he was teaching. So what you do usually is you take a wet log and you beat on it until it separates at the growth rings. Then you take a sharp knife and you create a start and you peel it back like you're peeling paper off, and you take those thin strips and you weave a basket with it. So he was teaching how to make oak baskets. And so the tool that this guy chose for his class that had gone through probably hundreds of students' hands was he would all hand them opinels to do the basket course with, because they had to do the fine splitting of the wood and shape.
Right.
When you go to put it together, you got to shape the front for tapers so they lock in. And so you got to figure if that knife did not heavy work, but that kind of work and survive a whole bunch of newbies, hundreds of newbies, that's a damn good knife.
Absolutely it is. But again, you got to use it, as a knife. And this is why I've never actually been a big fan of a lot of the bushcraft channels. I don't even like batoning with a knife. They have developed this thing called an axe that I feel is much better for chopping wood than batoning knives. So your hate mail should be sent to EDC-TV at multitool.org. I know all of the bushcrafters they're just hacking away at their keyboards right now. I think that we're going to need to end on that particular note. Inky, have you got any final thoughts that you'd like people to take away from this episode?
Yeah, I'd like to tell you. Let me see if you can see me okay. Can you see me?
I can see you,
No,
yep.
I can't really do it, but a friend of mine was walking with two big giant watermelons. He's an Italian guy from New York, right, Ed? And he's walking. I'm like, Joey. He's like, yeah. I'm like, what time is it? He's like, shit. And he puts down the watermelon. And he puts down the other watermelon. And he goes, I don't know. That's all I got to say.
Okay, on that note, have you got any final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience there, eh?
I can't remember how many times Inky's worn a white T-shirt on the
I
show.
love white T-shirts.
Yeah, it's brilliant. My shirts, after a while, never come out that white. So my final thoughts is maybe one of these days, Inky will share his laundry routine with us.
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been great to have you again. This is, as I said, the last episode for 2025. So I wish you all the best in 2026. We will be back early in the new year with a new episode, apparently about laundry. If you want to get a hold of us, that email address is edctv at multitool.org, or you can visit us on the forum Chat with a whole bunch of like-minded people at forum.multitool.org. They are, of course, a sponsor of this podcast, so that's where you want to leave your complaints about whatever the heck it is you want to complain about. God knows we give you a lot of material. That's it for another week, folks. Keep things bright and stay a cut above. Take care out there.